Yes, at first. And then if you look at all the different personality, what is called graves, I think, this dude, that you start exploring yourself, and at some point this is not enough anymore, you want to go to the community. It's like what you do, you help other people and you also make these videos, but you're also a therapist. So you work with yourself, but you also help other people in your practice, and then you make these videos, which is an even bigger audience. So it's like, ideally you have to start with yourself, of course, because if you don't know yourself, you can't do anything. But afterwards it branches out, and you can help other people grow. And I give a platform also to Saba to a very small degree now, and also to Christina. For her it's a completely new experience. For Saba it's a way to express her beautiful intellect, and so it's good, because as soon as you can branch out, it becomes more, and this is the ideal version of it. But it's useless before you haven't worked on yourself. And you can do both. Continue working on yourself and with yourself, and working with the world.
Great. Totally agree with you. Great. That's true. That's true. Let's talk about your fears and hopes. Who wants to start? In a context of your creativity, your mission, your projects, in terms of this.
Maybe Christina? And it's a big question, but...
About fears and hopes? Fears, I can say maybe my big fear is to lose myself. I think so. And hopes, I don't know, I just hope that everything will be good. I hope in I hope that I can do everything. I hope that I'm strong. I hope that all people they are strong and good, and actually all humans can do everything if they want it. So I hope in it. I hope that our world will be much better and we can do everything for it, actually. I just hope I hope in love, in people, in goodness and wellness, and all these things which are very similar, but for someone it's hard, I think. That's my hope.
Great.
Okay, so I feel like Christina said, I don't know if she said it with the same context or with the same meaning, that I don't want to lose myself. There are some ideals that I believe in, and I fear that if I might feel the pressure, or if I want to succeed in life, I would have to leave them, and I really hope that I never have to leave those ideals. There was tiny things. It could be about, for example, not running after money, or to be environmentally conscious, and those all small things which you can set as your ideals. And the other thing that I really fear is regrets. I fear regrets in my life. I hope I can you can sometimes make wrong decisions, but as long as you still learn with them, I think those are not regrets. But when you're in your late 40s or something, or especially, I fear that the moment I'm dying and I feel oh, I wish I hadn't done this, or I wish I had done this. So I don't want those ifs in my life. That is my fear. Yeah.
But you will have regrets if you have expectations. Maybe.
Yeah, if you have hopes and expectations, and I always try to keep them as low as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't fear much. I mean, fear has never really been my central emotion in life. at first because I was so strong. Of course, when they took everything from me, like everything materially, physically, when the autoimmune broke out and I was deprived of, you know, basic material existence and stuff, and when the biochemistry in your brain just starts to fuck up, then you will have flashes of fear that are very unpleasant, but that's because your body is basically shutting down like a computer, you know what I mean? But even that didn't happen a lot, so fear is not my central issue. I wouldn't say I fear something. I would say I would heavily dislike having to have more than... I don't want to reincarnate because I'm done with this shit. It's taken 12 years until we had a decent conversation like this, or just recently I was interviewed by a top podcaster that it will be screened in August. Usually takes with the podcasts. That was great, but it took me such a long time until I had people who were asking these decent, intelligent questions, people who actually had some humanity on the other side of the receiving end. So I fear not being able to fully materialize my project maybe until I die. I do believe that I still have a couple of decades. So if I try very hard, hopefully I can at least create the base. So I would heavily dislike not being finished and having to do this shit all over again, because it's just... you know, the world could be so beautiful, but this job gets so tedious after such a long time. I mean, I had the idea over 23 years ago, 24 years ago almost. And when I got started as an artist, it was in 2008 with the blog, and actively on TV 2011, 12. So it's like, you know, it's been a long time. But hopes, yeah, basically the hopes are that I will somehow be able to at least form the base for it. I know it's complex. I have to bring a lot of things together. There are a lot of barriers, you know, and a lot of, you need money as well and all kinds of things. But I mean, it's hard to ask me this question because I've transcended such a long time ago, and even though I came back to the ego because I was in so much pain and I had to always fight for base survival, it's not really ego. You know, even my negativity that comes out sometimes, it's actually just a byproduct. But I was already at a point where all I thought about was creating on a broad level, and that was a long time ago. And I had a really good practical at GP a long time ago, who was a bit of a friend. It didn't work out in the end, unfortunately, but for a while we were good friends, and she said to me one day, like, you're so funny because you're in this pretty bad situation, like financially and everything, you know, you don't have anything, and you have this Maslow pyramid, you know, at the top is self-actualization and at the bottom is like food and everything. And she says, like, you only exist at the very top of this pyramid, and other people are just somewhere, and for you only this exists, only that. And I was like, yeah, but it's been like this. That's why, because I had this unusual childhood, and I started with hardcore psychology when I was really young, when my brain wasn't fully formed. So I literally formed my brain according to the books I read about, because I had to mostly self-educate. We had the books, but everything else was up to me, and my environment certainly wasn't very friendly in that sense. So, but it was good. So I had myself, and I had these books of some really great thinkers. Some of that was wrong, but most of them had good ideas, like archetypes and everything. So I built myself up from the ground. And it took me 20 years, roughly. But after that, I was done. I was 97% finished. The only thing I needed was this, I always forget this Greek word, that you have to, there's a word in Greek, where you need a male element or your corresponding element. If you're a lesbian, you need a woman. If you're a gay guy, you need a guy for this. You need a second person in any case, in a partnership, to complete. And there's the Greek, they have a word for different kinds of love, and they also have this one word, I have to look it up. but it's a beautiful word, and I was not surprised that they had it, but I was surprised because I was told that they know that there's one kind of creation that really somewhat requires a partner. And if you're an asexual, still, you need a partner, somebody. It's like two human energies have to come together to create this feeling, or maybe even a product or something of fulfillment. And I knew that that was my problem. And then this dude came, where I thought that was my soul partner, and he broke my heart. I felt like my life cord was cut. I don't know how to describe it. And then the autoimmune developed, because I felt like, fuck, the only thing that I was still looking for myself, to nourish myself, I cannot have. And and then also there's a lot of things that play into this, but I mean, you're asking me a question that, if you're directing the question towards my hopes and fears, they are very little. My hopes and fears are hopes and fears directed towards my projects. Because for myself, to be happy, honestly, I would just sit in a corner somewhere, happy by myself, and just smiling all day long, like, oh, no stress, nothing to do, no people to battle, nothing to organize, But so in my case, you have to differ between the ego goals that were done a long time ago, with this one exception, and the generic goals. So, after you finish yourself, you can then deal with the world, basically. And in a sense, it's still ego, because you are yourself in one body, and you only have your brain and your body, and you have to work with it. So yes, but that's then the ego becomes the tool. It's with this trias, like the id, the dark side. Once you dealt with that, then you have the ego, and then you have the super ego. Or super me, or whatever it's called, but I think I call it super ego in English. And it's not three distinct things. It's more like an onion. So at some point it's going to be integrated. So of course you can never drop the ego. And of course you also need to eat, and you need to sleep to sustain the body, etc. But essentially, for me, the top of the pyramid was always the most interesting. And but it's very hard.
I just want to ask Christina, have you ever met such an intellectual people like Anima and Saba? I guess you are so impressed, of their thoughts, ideas,
I think never.
thinking. Never.
Never. Like, as you said, they're so interesting people, so smart. I was shocked, like my first time I was really shocked when I met Alexandra. And we get some coffee, and she spoke like so much.
You were shocked?
About like how you are so impressive, like your enthusiasm and all of those things. Like,
interesting.
Yes. It's very interesting for me.
And all of us are mirrors for each other. And my question will be, what did you see in these mirrors? What can you describe or explain the reflection?
I think this is a pretty hard question for Christina, right? Or was it?
I don't think so, because
do you understand what he means? What he's hinting at?
Christina is so brilliant. You are so brilliant to answer my questions. Great, great.
Thank you.
What did you know about yourself?
You mean like mirror, when I see the mirror?
Yes.
I see myself?
Yes. Yes.
I see very beautiful, smart girl. And like as I said already, I believe myself, so I say to myself that I can do everything. Maybe for now it's hard for me, but I know that it's just the beginning, and in the future I will do everything what I can do, all best of my yes. And actually I see that I have very big background. I was a volunteer. I participated in Erasmus Plus project a few times. I have very big work experience, like waitress, barista, like all of these things. So I'm happy about me, and I believe in my.
No doubts, you are young and
Yes.
beautiful and happy girl. But if we think metaphorically, when we talk to each other, we have something new about ourselves. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think about it? When you talked to Anima and Saba, what did you discover about yourself?
That I'm shy, maybe a little bit, maybe not a little bit. That I have some problems in English, and I very much I want to learn much languages for discussion with them, and also that I'm feeling myself that I have to learn a lot of things. Yes, because like Anima and Saba, they're very interesting and smart girls. So I just see that I want to learn a lot of things. Like it's like my motivation actually. Yes, I think it's a good description. So they motivate me.
It's interesting, yeah, because Christina said about problems that she talked about lacks, shy, problems, some negative opinion about herself. That she has a lack of education, not good enough, yes, and need to practice her English. Improve your language skills and etc. And what is the positive thing? It's an idea of self-development, yeah, and self-creativity and self-attention maybe, yeah, attention to. So she found her needs, yeah, not, and so thanks to your open mind and relationships with other people, you can go forward, yeah, and move.
Of course, I don't think that it's bad. It's not bad because I'm just not experienced in some of things like social media, like marketing, like events management. I'm just not experienced in all of these things. So maybe just because of it, I feel those things that I'm not so experienced. But of course, for me, it's like I said, it's motivation. And I don't think that it's bad. It's very good for me that actually I'm here for now. So
great. And you don't think about your natural gifts, like your beauty and youth, yeah. But you think about some inner space, yes, inner world, how to develop yourself and to make yourself, Yeah?
Yes.
Self. So we have self-made
Yes.
girl.
Yes, we can say like that.
Oh, and our reality is about it just is about beauty, yeah, and natural beauty. Not natural, but
Yeah, that's why I was like, what were you trying to say there? Yeah.
yeah. What is your opinion? What is your answer for my question?
Reflection.
Yes, reflection.
So I feel like I share a lot of similarities with Alexandra. Of course, we have our own differences, but we have a lot of similarities. We also have the same birth sign and very similar personalities. And she's a person like who had knowledge from different fields, and she has this belief that she can do it. I'm also interested in like different fields. Like I grew up, I was interested in physics, I was interested in maths, but I was also interested in strategy, marketing. I also like to sketch sometimes. I'm also interested in arts, but I kind of lacked that belief that I can actually do it. And when I talked to her, I realized that I can also do it. So that was like one of the positive things that I kind of reflected. I saw that she was at some point the same person who wanted to learn something of everything, and she did it, so I can probably do it too. And the other things, I see this expression, art, freedom, and ambition in her that I feel like I can resonate with. Yeah.
Great. You, Anima.
I've grown to be very conscious of synchronicities. And I used to be, before the autoimmune broke out, and it's coming back, I used to be very good in visualizing. We had a deal, me and the cousin, to not ever ask for all this megalomaniac crazy stuff, because it's also not really relevant. So when I wanted something material, I got it 2 weeks later, exactly in the way I wanted it and at the price I could afford to. And it also stretches out into attraction. So yes, you can attract what you want. And because I was starting to lose my soul and I started to lose my innocence at the very late age compared to some other people, but I'd also seen a lot of crap in trying to manifest the vision I had when I was 19. And by the way, I didn't want to learn so many different things. I have a job. I have a job to do that I have to deliver, and it annoys me that it takes so much time. So I have to put this vision, or I have to try to put what I saw in this vision, try to create something that puts this idea and this potential into good hands and not into bad hands that would use it to manipulate people. But so I've lost the thread now because I'm really tired. What were we talking about?
Reflection, like what did...
Yeah, the reflection. So I was trying to visualize. I needed inspiration, you could say, and I needed just this innocence that youth has, but I wasn't really focused on youth that much, and I needed people to help me build this thing, or at least try to. So I was visualizing, I wanted to bring my younger self to me at the point where, you are still, you haven't seen all this shit and you can still believe in people to a degree, I also wanted smart people. I wanted Vitruvians, because Vitruvian vision is all about, helping people develop themselves, of telling people that you can be multiple things if you want to, if you need to fulfill your own self. Then that's okay, because society always tries to make you like this small, which is sometimes helpful in a certain job, but most of the time it's actually very destructive. So I wanted to attract my younger self, and to my shock, obviously my abilities are back to a degree. It worked. So I attracted some amazing people, and Christina and Saba are just two of them, that I was shocked at what I attracted, that these people, I mean, many people didn't end up being interns, because not everyone will commit to a project that will not instantly make a lot of money and is a lot of hard work. But it really depends where your focus is. If you want to learn a lot of things, then I'm certainly a good address. And so yeah, the girls were looking for a way, for potential to develop themselves and to grow. And I was looking for my younger self, you know, without any age label, anything attached to it, but younger in a sense of, I would have also, I don't know, I mean, if I would have met some person my age who still had managed, because they wouldn't have had to put themselves through the shit that I put myself through for this project, they would have still had some innocence, real innocence, genuine innocence, then same thing, you know. But I gave the COSM I just basically said, I want, if you bring me interns, if you bring me people, bring me younger versions of myself, which sounds very awful right now, because these are people, they're not just my manifestations, you know. But I was actually shocked and happy at the same time that I found some really smart people, that some of them are super fast advanced, some of them are at the beginning, but who knows what Christina is going to do. Maybe Saba will stick with one specific thing at some point and completely dig herself into it, and Christina will take 10 years of hardcore learning and then come up with this genius idea that needs 10 different, completely different sources of inspiration to be created, to be born, basically, you know. Who knows what's going to happen, because Christina is only 21, you know. I mean, that gives her decades of learning, you know. There's people who had a company that now is one of the top global players at 60, you know, like this. Okay, that's, but there are some people who started companies at 50, 60, 70 years of age. There are inventors who had their greatest invention at a really old, fairly old age, and it's who knows what's going to happen, you know. And yeah, for me this mirror was, I wanted to, I didn't think that I would be able to be honest, after all what happened, but obviously some part of me was still there that sent out the right signal, and the COSM sent it back. So there was, it's never easy, of course, and I had to dig myself out of a very deep hole that I was pushed into. And that took a lot of time and a lot of hard work, but apparently the core of me was still intact to a degree that it worked out. And of course, after being in a deep, like, ditch where you were left to die and pushed in really well, and some people really tried very hard to do all kinds of really awful things to me over the years, like out of the blue, people I didn't even know, I don't know, all kinds of people. But so obviously what you're gonna send out at this stage, because you need to heal yourself and get rid of all this shit, is not going to be 100%, but what is 100%, and how can you know it's 100%? But I was shocked at how great my visualizing still worked. Sorry, it sounds like really ego obsessed right now, but I'm still shocked, to be honest, because when I look at Christina's pure heart and I look at Saba's massive intellect and political abilities that maybe she doesn't even know she has, I don't know, and I'm sure she's very critical of it because she's a Virgo. This is so overwhelming in the positive that I'm just like, wow, finally, after such a long time, finally the people that I wanted to have in my life are there. I wouldn't need them if I wouldn't have to do this shitty project to myself. Sorry, it's a great project, but it's like creating this as a woman without any help, and I didn't have any help, quite the opposite in my life. Pretty much anywhere I went to was enormous, and I would never do this shit, this awful crap I had to go through to myself and my integrity if it weren't for a bigger idea. And I'm very happy that I attracted some really great people now. Also, some people are gonna come. We're going to have one intern I'm really looking forward to, because while Christina mirrors the pure heart I had and the love I had, and that she wishes everybody to be happy and to express themselves. Yeah, that was me. When I was on Austrian TV, everybody had the feeling like everybody was out to get me because